Well, hello, everybody. Looks like we have people joining from all over the United States and some people from much farther away than that. We're going to wait a couple minutes until everybody gets in and say a word of welcome, go through the agenda. But for now, to begin with, we wanted to highlight the Love in Action Challenge shout out, the campaign that we just ended that some of you on this call were part of. So first of all, thank you for participating. Hopefully you've recovered, your legs have recovered from the 605-mile virtual race around Tanzania. There were 116 Shade partners who took on that Love in Action Challenge last month, by the way. And thanks for helping us raise awareness and funds for the Shade kids. And here's some stats from the virtual race. Total miles traveled, 12,600, if you can believe that. And total activities logged, 3,145. We raised over $16,500. And now here comes the important award ceremony part, podium moment. Top fundraiser, Esme Farley. You can clap with your virtual hands if you want. Anyway, congratulations. Top team, Jack Pack. And first across the finish line, Team Cup with Gary Cuppernell logging the most individual miles at 548. The team that had the most total miles, the Aretists with over 1,800. Most kids involved, GCT, and the churches, most Hillside Heroes and Team Res. And then an award for the best accompanying photos goes to Norm Herr. And guess what the state was with the most participants? Virginia. So bravo, thank you for doing that. And we're excited about that. Yeah, looks like we got a bunch of people in here looking at the list. So without further ado, let's get started. So I am unbelievably excited to be able to welcome you to Shade's 10th anniversary celebration. You know, starting anything is not easy, and 10 years in is an incredible mile marker to underscore. So thanks for being here with us to celebrate this amazing day. My name is Rich Klopp. I'm thrilled to be the host today, which just means I'm going to blip in and out and try to make sure we stay on time and move things along. But thank you for joining. As I said, we're here to celebrate a decade of incredibly significant ministry to the least of these. And you've been a part of that all along the journey. Today's also special. You might not be aware of this, but it's International Albinism Awareness Day, IAAD. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that later. But first, some introductions, and then, as I mentioned, I'll get to the review of the agenda for today. So who am I? Rich Klopp, and really, I'm a proud supporter of Shade, like a lot of you on this call. And I've had the distinct privilege of getting to know this organization this year. I think what amazed me about Shade is I'm a missionary kid, so I grew up in Africa, not Tanzania. I grew up on the other side of the continent, West Africa. But you would think I would know this about Africa, and I had no idea until I ran into the Shade folk that 1 out of every 1,400 kids born in Tanzania has albinism. I mean, that's the highest rate in the whole continent of Africa, and significantly higher than in the United States or in Europe. And by comparison, so in North America or in Europe, approximately 1 in 20,000 people. So compare 1 in 1,400 with 1 in 20,000 people born with albinism. And then I was especially horrified, like a lot of you, to learn that in Tanzania, individuals with albinism face severe discrimination, violence, health risks to a much higher degree. And part of that's due to just dangerous beliefs that exist in the society, and then social stigma. I loved Shade's response to that. A school, not just for kids with albinism, but for all kids, inspired by the deep love that Jesus has for all people. I like the idea of holistic education, protection, care for children with albinism, and the safe environment that is provided by the school, as well as just essential resources that they need. So as you know, the school promotes inclusion and combats stigma by educating, as I mentioned earlier, both children with and without albinism together. So growing up together, fostering understanding and acceptance from an early age, rooted in the belief that every individual is worthy of life and love. So back now to the agenda. Here's what we're going to cover in our short hour together. So I'm going to hand off in a minute to Joseph Magila, brother of Shades Tanzanian director, John Magila, who's also on the call. You're going to be hearing from him tonight as well. Joseph is a Shade volunteer, and he's actually in the US right now, and a disability advocate. So Joseph's going to tell us more about International Albinism Awareness Day. Following that, we're going to hear from John, Joseph's brother Magila, who's coming to us from Tanzania. So thanks for staying up late or getting up early, whatever it is. We'll hear from him, and he is Shade's country executive director. Right after that, the person you know well, Claire Fideli, will share her insights and experience. She's going to give us a look at what's ahead for Shade. And then we're going to hear from our Shade board chair, Dondi McNichol. She's going to walk us through what's going on, what we're working on this year, and ways that we can all get deeper involved with what's happening at Shade. So depending on the time, we'll also have Q&A with you. So you'll notice, and this is important, on the taskbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a tab labeled Q&A. That's the one to use to enter your questions. So feel free to click on that at any time in the webinar progress and register the questions. We have Casey Lowe, our facilitator, who's going to be fielding those questions, and later on we'll send them over to Claire and John or whoever else you want to ask questions of, and we'll get to that hopefully by the end of our time together. So thank you again for joining. Welcome. We're so excited you're here. I'm excited. I love this organization. I know you do too. And thanks for joining. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Joseph.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Rich. I just want to make sure that I'm audible. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it's a special day today. We commemorate the International Albinism Awareness Day. And basically, this is the day that was selected 10 years ago to amplify the voice of people with albinism, but also to tell the world that there's a visibility of people with albinism all around the world. And basically was also to help or to advocate people with albinism to take their rightful place in the society, following with the challenges that people with albinism have been facing. So it's a special day, and it's a good day because the whole world get to know what exactly albinism is all about. There's a lot of misconceptions that have been happening, specifically in Tanzania, in my country, about albinism. Apart from the fact that albinism is a genetic condition, but also people still don't understand a lot about it. There have been a lot of mythical beliefs attached to albinism, causing a lot of dangerous and damage to people with albinism, as far to speak the challenges that have happened. And that has really made people with albinism face a lot of challenges. I can recall from my personal experience when I was growing up. I remember, yeah, you can see from a picture there. Now we look so alike by then. I don't know where is John or where is Joseph right there, but that's our late dad, our late father. On the right, that's our mother. And I think we are two alike, so I don't know who is John, who is Joseph. But then anyway, when we were younger at school, when these things started happening, it was very tough because, like, you know, we had to, I remember a time that we had to live in a neighbor's house. We stayed in a lockdown for almost a year and a half. Basically, that situation was very traumatizing because we never grew like as other kids. We never played together. during school, people were going for different study tours or vacations or all that kind of things, but we never be part of that. So it was really challenging. It was also challenging because I know some friends who had albinism. They were killed. I know some of them who were cut off their hands due to these mythical beliefs and dangerous beliefs that have been happening. So personally, that was really, really, really a challenge. We thank God we strived the whole situation through. You can see a picture from the at the bottom on your right. That's when we graduated our first bachelor degree in University of Iringa. Yeah, so on the bottom left, that's a picture of me and my brother when we were in primary school. I can't recall what class was that, but also on the right upper, is when we were like very young, young little boys. And I don't know how many months we were, but we were so young. So yeah, so this kind of misunderstanding that have been taking place, and for sure has been really, really challenging. Currently, you've had Shed addressing this. There's a little boy in Tanzania that was, attacked by unknown people, and they attacked the boy with machetes, and the boys, the situation is very bad because, there's harm happening. I've heard about the information currently also. There's a boy, he's still missing up until now. Unknown people, the same, just kidnap him and he's nowhere to be found. So this kind of situation are really, really traumatizing and are really, really bad. So and this is why Shed comes in with the work that he's doing. Like you have addressed earlier, Shed's programs and activities are basically there to support and promote the rights of vulnerable children, including people with albinism. But the work critically is important because, like I said, Shed is not only building schools or having these inclusive programs, but the idea behind this is Shed has a long-term strategy to ensure that we re-educate our communities, we educate our societies to understand what exactly is albinism, because the core problem here is the lack of real knowledge about what is right. So Shed, it comes in to put the effort. And like I said, the good thing about the commemoration of this day today has a theme that says a decade of collective progress. So you see the effort that Shed is doing to ensure that the society gets to know. And this is being done through different programs. We have outreach programs, education programs, understanding albinism programs. All these things support this community to understand exactly what albinism is. I can say the work is still on and we're not yet to stop. I'm a volunteer here in the United States, like Rich has introduced, and I'm working as an advocate as well to ensure that together as a collective, we achieve this goal and that we can solve these problems globally. I think I can end there, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Joseph. I just have no words to, it's just so hard to wrap my mind around what these children are facing. And thanks, Joseph, for those pictures as well. It's good to see you as little guys. That's pretty cool. So, and that's why we're here celebrating the 10th year anniversary of Shade, the incredible work that's been done there, as well as International Albinism Awareness Day, which is global. And that's why Shade's work is so critical. So since it's roughly 3 a.m. in Tanzania, where John is, who you're going to hear from in a minute, we decided rather than show a live video feed from around the school, since it would be dark and you wouldn't be able to see anything, we're going to show you a video instead. So that overviews the work of Shade. So here we go.
When you think about Shed, what is one word that comes to mind? Education. With 6th grade levels, 207 students, and a commitment to excellence, Shed School is continuing to grow and thrive. Hope. Every week, we share hope with families living in very difficult situations. Working alongside others looks like food support, small business loan, spiritual mentoring, medical scholarships, and building relationships. Sustainability. Whether it is raising chickens at our poultry farm or planting and harvesting fruits and vegetables in the community garden, Shades projects aim to make the campus sustainable while also providing training to the vulnerable youth in our community. Jesus. We are all about Jesus. Shade was his idea, and he is behind everything we do. Our students pray throughout the day and study the Bible, and we engage our community with the love and the truth of Christ. School bus. Buses are more than vehicles. They are how vulnerable children have access to quality education. They keep our kids safe, and we are so thankful to have added a third bus in our fleet. Meals. Not only do Shade School students get 2 healthy meals each day, but they are now able to eat them in our brand new cafeteria. Our 3 cooks prepare favorites such as rice, beans, and vegetables. Inclusiveness. Education and acceptance should be for everyone. When new 3-year-old joined the baby class this January, their teacher noticed that some students were afraid of their classmates with albinism. After just a few weeks, they embraced each other as friends. Change is happening.
Yay! There's so much joy here on the Shade campus. Over the past 10 years, God has done incredible things, and we look forward to the next 10 and all that He will do. We invite you to be a part of it. Video makes me smile every time. There's so much joy there. So I'm going to invite John also on the screen now, if you can join me. My name is Claire Fideli, and I am the U.S. Executive Director of Shade. And I'm here with our Tanzanian Executive Director as well. John, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. How is everybody? And this is very interesting. I feel very much joy.
So much joy. Yeah, it's so great. So we're here to give an update on what's going on right now at Shade. So I'm just going to ask John a few questions, and he's going to let us know what is going on. So the first question is that in the new school year started in January this year, and we added the 3rd grade. And so can you tell us how the 3rd graders are doing and how all the students at Shade School are doing so far?
Yeah, for sure. We have been having a very good, successful year for this 2024 year. And of course, it has been very good because we have tried to enroll all 3rd grade level. And the good news is that within this class, and comparing from the all 6th grade levels that we are having right now, because from the baby class to standard 3, in the whole school, entire school, we have 207 students. And of course, by that time, and by all this from January until now, it has been a very good and very successful year, and that it really reveals on what inclusiveness is concerned. Because the most important thing is that our school is not only for vulnerable children, and that makes our school very unique. So we include children with albinism, children without albinism, orphans, and other students who are living in a single parent family. But also currently we have 17 students who have albinism, and we have 7 students who they have disabilities, different disabilities, but also in general, because we also have sponsorship scholarship. We have 65 students who are in scholarship. The other good thing is about right now, students have they just took a break, and of course we always want to assess and see how are they doing as far as academic is concerned, and we are very great that these students are really doing a very good, and the average level of their pass mark is 81. And yeah, for this year, of course, it has been a very good and tremendous format whereby these kids are also having a good time to enjoy their great 2 meals a day. That includes a breakfast and lunch in the brand new cafeteria, whereby they really enjoy, and it's a very massive, big place where they can be in a very organized while they're taking up their meals. But also, the good thing is that because it's the third grade level, God has helped us, and we have achieved a sense of buying a brand new school bus for the kids. And this is a very, very important vehicle because we are located in a rural area. And of course, we need something like safety during the time where they go to school, or even the time when they're going back to their home places. So basically, I could say that we are having a very, very tremendous year, and the plans, the teachers, the staff, and everybody, including me as a leader, for sure, we're really doing a great job, and I'm very happy for that.
That's amazing. Awesome. So you mentioned that Shade School is inclusive. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, why that is important and why that's the model that Shade uses at our school?
Yeah, as Joseph, my brother, mentioned earlier, we know in Tanzania, like what we say, people living with albinism, the idea is that many people do not have a great understanding about this, because these kids they get, segregated. And of course, this is why we came up with an idea of seeing how we can really take time to combat all these misunderstanding. And we thought of having a school that is inclusive, whereby these people can come together with their uniqueness and join together and be united. And the far of telling people the truth about albinism. But of course, these people with albinism, they don't have access to a very quality education. That's why our school, despite of the environment, despite of everything, we are really working our best to make sure that these kids have the quality education so that they can be able to be leaders and be able to change the world in the future. The other thing is about the environment that we provide. The services are very incredible here. I am a person with albinism individually, so I always want to make sure I'm very aggressive to make sure that everything is on the spot and everything is just as quality as possible. So we have a lot of accessible things. These students wear hats, they're in the long sleeves. They play in a very good area to make sure that the safety and security is there. But also, teachers and other staff and matrons and cooks and everybody, they are well trained. And especially by me as an aggressive leader, the good thing that I always want is that they should understand this, because they're going to be a very good ambassador. So teachers know how to teach kids with albinism in the class. And that brings a very good joy, because these kids, they are obtaining a quality education with a very good facilities and equipment, things like dome lenses, things like iPad, things like computers and projectors and things like that. And through that, I take my time as a leader to share the truth about albinism and tell these teachers and staff. And so they're really enjoying it and understanding it, and they're really doing it in a very, very, very good way. And lastly, I could say, we're trying to raise up the next generation. We want people who are able to take their rightful position. We want people who can be able to do something, to influence, to change the world. So this is what we thought could be as a starting point, not only to do education, not only about the love of Jesus Christ, not only about seeing the community and trying to do all these things as far as sustainability is concerned, but we are raising up the next generation with a positive mindset. And we know that for the truth that we speak about albinism, the world is going to change.
Amazing. I love that. I love that vision, and bringing all different kinds of kids together to learn and to grow. It's a great model. So can you tell us a story of just one of the students at Shade School?
Well, I have many stories, but okay, I could. Yeah, I have many stories, and of course, it's all about successful stories. Let me speak a story about this little boy called Emmanuel Mabula. Of course, when we were launching up the, trying to find out these vulnerable children, they are trying to see where they are, and we came up with this little boy. His name is Emmanuel, as you see on the picture. This little boy, they are living in extremely, extremely poor condition. And of course, by that time, before we took him up to our campus at Shade, you can see that he had a problem on his leg. When he was young, he got a little accident, and then the parents were not able to take him to the hospital So he just grew up like that, where the leg had to like bend a little bit. So he was really struggling walking, using one stretcher. And we as Shade, because we are very positive about this and we really want to help. So we took up a position whereby we are able to help him to complete his to complete all these important things as far as walking is concerned. So we right now the boy is in our campus, whereby there is a good place and a very a genuine place where he gets clean water and a very good place to sleep, good eating good meals, and of course we are under the supervision of this. And basically, Emmanuel went through different surgeries, and the first one was it was January, and the second one was in April. And of course, Shade is covering each and everything as far as the medication is concerned. And of course, I, as a person with albinism, I always go and see him, and of course, giving him motivation. And we know that in the future, Emmanuel will be okay. And the dream of Emmanuel, as we asked him, because we as leaders, we always sit down with these kids and tackle and see their mindset and see what are they thinking. And Emmanuel said he really wants to become a doctor. I don't know, maybe because he got this problem for some reason, but then he really wants to become a doctor. And then we as leaders, we as a Shade, it is our purpose, because we believe by prayer, love, good medical attention, love and support, prayers, and of course, for Jesus Christ, and then having all these positive things as far as academic is concerned, we believe that Emmanuel will one day achieve his dream and overcome his challenges. And he's going to be one person who will take the rightful place and position in the future. And he can be a leader, and he can change the world as our target slogan that we use in our school.
Yeah, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And we're so glad that Emmanuel is on the path to healing and that he has big dreams. Can't wait to see him grow up and what he'll do. So one last question. When we talk about Shade and share about Shade, we talk a lot about the school, but there are many things like medical care and other things that we do in addition to education. So can you give a quick update just on a few of those other initiatives of Shade?
Yeah, we are doing a lot, and this is very, very good. And first of all, we not only do all those kind of things, but we do things like holistic care and improvement and empowerment, especially to the parents. The picture you see there, these are the one of the parents that, of course, we have the kids enrolled in our school, but also we know that we are not only helping the kid, but also we are helping the parents through holistic care and empowerment. And the empowerment that we do is that we do have these different trainings for the families. And of course, we work directly with the community at large. Basically, is to not only change the environment in our campus, but also we need to expand the community and tell people the truth about Jesus, the truth about albinism, and all those important things. And the other thing I could say is that we offer the small business loans to the parents who have the kids in our society, in our campus. The good thing is that we want those families to be sustainable for some reason. Even if they're going to do some small business, but at least they can be able to have a good meal at home, at least have something to buy, and all those, to have these basic needs in their families. And we create this to not only to just have the income, but we want their families to be stable for some reason, so that they can be able to take care of these kids. And the other thing is that I could recall for this year, we just had a phase 2 of a poultry project whereby we raised chicken, and this project started last year. And basically, we have built a chicken house and trained these local youth in keeping up the poultry, or in keeping them, because we believe that when we have people, the youth from the community who are well trained, giving a lot of awareness about different things, and of course creating this sustainability plan of raising up chickens, that is a very good thing for the youth. And so just last month, we had to give each youth at least 10 chickens so that they can be able to launch their own small business at their home places. And this is just to give them responsibility as youth so that they cannot be engaged in other negative things in the community. And we are supervising this through the outreaches programs that we are doing in every week. And of course, right now they're doing a very good job. But also, we through this poultry project, it brings sustainability, because for WeShed, we have many chickens right now, and then this provides income through selling up of eggs, because they lay eggs, but also through selling up the chicken as far as meat is concerned. So we get some income for that in helping and see what we can be sustainable. But also we have the community garden, place where we grow different kind of crops, and the ones that we are also using up in our meals in different days. And this is just so amazing because we also train the same youth to come inside the community garden, they cultivate. We have a very good water well over there. So they have learned on how to cultivate and grow and make it sustainable. So we don't need to buy things like vegetables, fruits. We don't need to buy all these kind of things. We just take them from the garden direct to the kitchen, and then our kids eat a very fresh, healthy meal. And also, lastly, I could say, you know, we also hold these seminars as far as quarterly is concerned. And the good thing is that not only just giving them education and awareness, but also we give education about albinism, because we know that when we build these youth to have this mindset about albinism, then they're going to be a very good people in the future. And when it comes that they meet the family who has maybe they have a kid with albinism or something like that, it's going to be something very, very tremendous, that they are going to be people who are very good ambassadors, so that they can bring change and then to have a very good atmosphere as far as the community is concerned. Thanks.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It was a great update. There's so many things happening in Tanzania right now. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you very
John
much.
will be back in a few minutes for some live Q&A. So make sure to write your questions into that Q&A box if you have them, and he'll be back in a little bit to answer them. But John just shared about all these amazing things that are happening right now, but it wasn't always that way. So we are here on the 10-year anniversary of Shade, and I want to take a minute just to look back at the past 10 years to remember all that God has done and where we came from, and then look forward to where we're going, because we have big plans for the future. And so let's take just a few minutes to do that. 10 years ago, Shade was just a dream. It was just an idea, and it was in my heart from God to get on a plane with just a few suitcases and go to Tanzania. And so let's look back at some pictures. We have the pictures. There we go. In April of 2014, Shade was officially registered as a nonprofit in the US. In October of 2014, I got on a plane to move to Tanzania and started going to a center where children with albinism were living for their safety. So that is how Shade started. We had a little preschool for about 3 years at that center and hired a few teachers along the way, but started by just going to the place where the children who were most vulnerable were found, because that is who we were called to love. At the same time, we had a student transitional program, so a program for young adults with albinism when they were leaving that center. And so they would come, they lived at the base that we had, the rented space in town, to be equipped and trained to transition out of the center and live productive, independent lives. And while we were doing that, we bought land, which you see there, my feet on the land. So we found our land. We were serving these kids. We were learning a lot. We were on the ground, but we had this vision, this big vision, to have our own place and our own school to love kids. In 2018, that is when John came to become the Tanzanian executive director, and I transitioned back to the US. He took over to lead the team, and we started building our small staff. We had 5 staff members. On the right is Martina, our outreach coordinator. And what she's doing and what we were doing was going out into our community just to love people, to get to know our neighbors, to be a presence there in the community. And you see that she's handing out Bibles. So we were just loving people, getting to know them, and being a presence in our community as we launched out on our own. In 2017 is when we bought our 10.5 acres of land, and the Shade campus was officially born. And this was the big vision that I traveled to Tanzania to set in motion, out of Psalm 68:6, where it says that God sets the lonely into family. And so to create a place of holistic love and care for vulnerable children, to include a school and homes and a clinic and a resource center. So we started to develop that space. Those are the very early years. We started out first by drilling a well in 2018. There was no access to water on our land, and so we drilled our own well, which is still in use today. After that, we built a guardhouse to have a presence on the land, to have someone living there for safety. And then we built our first building out of shipping containers, so our multi-purpose space, and that enabled us to transition out of our rented place in town and move out to our land and have our offices there in our community. After that, we launched programs like the community club. So we started planting the garden, and we welcomed vulnerable youth to come to learn about albinism, learn how to cultivate, learn about Jesus. And our campus started to get more and more green and beautiful trees and fruits and vegetables in our garden. After that, in 2021, we started to build again. We built 7 classrooms and bathrooms, which were the requirements for registering as an official school. And so at the end of 2021, we officially became a registered school in Tanzania. In 2022, we bought a bus and we opened our school with our first few grade levels, and that was a huge milestone in 2022. After that, we kept going with a chicken house. So we built our miniature poultry farm, like John mentioned, to expand our efforts to reach out to the community with the community club and to create sustainability. And we bought a second bus because more and more kids were coming. The opportunity then came up to purchase additional land. So our neighbors were wanting to sell their land, and we have this massive vision. So we took them up on it, and we purchased an additional 17 acres of land. And if you zoom out, you can actually see what our campus looks like there. That's the shape it is in now, with almost 30 acres of land. So we'll have plenty of space to build this huge vision. And so this past year, we last year and this year finished the cafeteria, which is our biggest building yet, where our kids can eat and we can gather, and it's just an amazing new addition to our campus. So here on the map, there it actually is. There's our actual land and our progress so far, what the campus looks like. And over the past decade, a lot of you have been so instrumental in making this possible. So I just want to say thank you for that. It's so amazing to see this just barren plot of land transformed into a beautiful campus that welcomes so many kids, have over 30 staff members, have all these outreach programs. It's just amazing to see what has happened in the past 10 years as we celebrate our anniversary. But we are not done yet. We are still moving forward. And so we have these big dreams, and let's see where we're going. So specifically in the next 3 years, we have plans to continue building out the infrastructure that will allow us to provide a full primary level education to our kids. So primary school goes through the 6th grade. And so we're going to add 3 more grade levels. So by the end of 2025, what we need to have is more classrooms and bathrooms, another bus. We're adding a lot of kids, and we're going to start to build the security wall. So we need to have that just to enhance our overall security. After that, we're going to continue on. We're going to add a parking area for all those buses that we have. We're going to slowly continue to build that wall over time. We're going to have play fields put in and make sure that our pathways are accessible, especially for our kids who have disabilities. After that, we're going to keep going and expand our garden even further. And the next really big step will be to build dormitories. And so this is important because in Tanzania, it's common for 5th and 6th graders to live on the campus of their school. And so that will be available to the older kids. But also, like Joseph mentioned, you know, there are kids, and we've heard there are kids in villages in unsafe areas that have expressed interest in coming to Shade School, but they're just too far and it's not accessible even by bus. And so if we could bring them to live on the campus, they would be safe. They would be in clean environments and well taken care of, but they would also have access to quality education, like John talked about, where they have trained teachers who know how to help them with their disabilities and challenges. And so having a place for kids to live on the campus is going to be huge. So in the next 3 years, that is our plan. But go back one picture. We're not stopping after 3 years. Here is what's going to happen even further into the future. So what we're going to have to do is to finish out the school is to add even more classrooms. You'll see there on the map. We're going to add a library and a computer lab, an administration block. We're going to fully enclose the campus with a wall. And then we're going to also build homes for vulnerable children and children that need a place to live in safe houses for people. And so that is where we're going. And we are not stopping until we get there. So it's really exciting to see on the map. It's exciting to see how this is all going to take shape. But really, this is all just the vehicle that we are using to create change, to address this greater problem of 10-year-old little boys being attacked in their homes in villages. This is just the method we're using to address this greater problem and make sure that all kids have a safe place, all kids have the opportunity to learn and to grow up and achieve their potential regardless of their disability or their background or vulnerability. So this is our strategy for creating that change. And it's really exciting to see it take shape over these 10 years. And just to look and dream for the next 3, the next 10, and the next however many years into the future of what it will look like and the massive impact it's going to make in lives. So to tell you more about how that's all going to happen, I'm going to welcome Dondi McNichol to the screen. She is the U.S. chair on our board of directors. So Dondi, take it away.
Thank you, Claire. And good evening, everyone. What a joy to be joining you. As a member of the Shade Board, I receive regular updates of how things are progressing as Claire brings reports from the team on the ground. But sitting here tonight, just listening to Joseph talk about growing up with albinism in Tanzania and John answering questions of the latest that's going on now, even to see Claire reflect back and then these charts moving forward, I am in awe of all that has been accomplished. You know, I first met Claire just a few months before she boarded that plane to move to Tanzania. And as she shared with me the plight of children with albinism and the vision God had given her to help these vulnerable ones, my heart was immediately captured. I wanted to be part of helping build something that would matter. And I know that many of you did also when you first heard the story. And here we are, 10 years later, through your charitable giving and your prayer support, so much has been accomplished. You've seen the photos from the empty 10.5-acre plot of land to now a 27 plus, almost 30-acre campus with multiple buildings where 30 Tanzanians are employed. More than 200 children are currently being educated. Vulnerable families are receiving nutritional and medical help, and in some cases, small business loans. Many tons of youth have been trained with vocational skills in order to generate income and create sustainability. Really and truly, an entire community is being positively impacted by SHADE, as it's become known in the region as the organization that helps and advocates for people with albinism. As you heard John and Claire, SHADE Ministry and SHADE School are thriving. We are so proud of the team on the ground and all that they are doing. But there is so much more to be done to fulfill the vision and to expand our impact to greater numbers of people. We must continue to build the SHADE organization, grow the infrastructure, and increase mission support. And that is why tonight we are launching our Classroom Partners campaign. This is a multi-year campaign to provide a full primary level education to children and to provide safety and additional opportunities for vulnerable children and their families to thrive. The first phase of this campaign begins today, right now, tonight, and we're glad you're here to help us celebrate its launch. See, we're ready to make our dreams a reality. As Claire described from this campaign, we will build classrooms, add bathrooms, increase our bus fleet, and begin building a security wall around the SHADE property by December of 2025. We will also recruit and hire additional educators and staff. From there, the next phase will include the dormitories that Claire mentioned. I think it will be great to have dorms for the students and also to have options for safe housing for children with albinism that live too far away to attend day school. Once these things are finished, SHADE will be able to provide a complete primary education in a safe and secure and healthy environment for more than 300 children each year. I am super excited, and I hope that you are too. So let me tell you how you can get involved. This summer, our goal is to raise $125,000 to start the Classroom Partners campaign strong. I hope you will consider investing deeper in our mission as we move forward. I invite you to think about a meaningful gift in honor of SHADE's 10-year anniversary as we build our capacity, grow with our students, and help their communities flourish. As Claire reviewed the work and accomplishments over the last 10 years, it is only possible because of your generosity and your passion for this mission. God has abundantly blessed SHADE through you and through your charitable giving. Please know, on behalf of the entire board and our Tanzanian team, we are grateful for your support and your faithfulness in giving, and we are hopeful that you will continue this journey with us. You can start right now by using the QR code on your screen and look for additional information to come to you soon through the mail. Thank you for being part of our team, for being part of our event today. I've loved being with you, and I now give you back to our directors, Claire and John, as they'll address some of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dondi. That was awesome. We are going to leave that up on the screen for just a minute. We're going to have our facilitator, Casey Lowe, feed us some questions, and John is going to join us as well. And we're going to see about 10 minutes that we can see how many we can answer. So make sure to keep submitting your questions. And Casey, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we have some great questions, Claire. Our first one comes from Mark. How do you select the vulnerable families that Shade helps? It seems like there might be so many needs in the Shinyanga area, excuse me. How do you decide who to help and who you can't?
That's a great question. John, you want to take a stab at it?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, because we want to make sure that we want to help or provide all these important things as far as people with albinism is concerned. We want to do it in a very effective way and efficiency way. So we want to do things that we can really do. We want to do things that we can. So basically, we don't announce publicity. We don't do all these kind of things just to fund these vulnerable children. We have a proper way to deal with the social worker from the government, but also we deal with community development officer for the municipal where we are located, to try to see, because they have all this information, where are the kids with albinism located, and we always need to see the needy ones, the most needy ones. So that's why when you try to see all these kids with albinism, most of them come from the very poor condition and very interior, just very interior, deep in the villages. So these are the people that we want to collect the most and try to help. And basically, because we're dealing with an inclusive, we don't only take the kids with albinism as just themselves. So we also try to see the ones that are living with a disability, the ones that are, maybe they have single parent family, maybe they are orphans and something like that. So basically we work directly with the government for some reason to make sure we get the ones that we can really put effort to be effective and efficiency to help them as far as education, love about Jesus and other important things is concerned.
Yeah. And we have a wait list for our school. We have a very good reputation. We have a lot of children that want to come. And so that is why this Classroom Partners campaign is so important too, to keep going, to keep building, to keep moving forward, so we can welcome more and more of these children that are there and in need and would love to come to our school.
Great, thank you. Joseph, you mentioned the government and working with municipalities. Along those same lines, what kind of oversight does the government exercise over the quality at Shade School?
Yeah, yeah, that is direct to my questions because I'm the one working here at the ground. Well, basically, there's a department called Quality Assurance of Primary Schools in Shinyanga. And so because we are our school is private school, it's not a government school, but we need to follow the rules and regulation as far as how to build the school and all these things is concerned. So basically, when building up the school and having all these facilities for the school, we are always being analyzed and being, there are people who are coming to analyze the school on how are you building in an inclusive way? Are you doing all the things in the right way? Like the dimensions and other important things. So basically we have, I would say, we have 100% assurance that the government are the ones that gave us mandatory and everything. And we are really doing very good, because a couple months ago, there were, it was a school competition to see the best environment and all those kind of things. And of course, our school came up number 2. So I'm glad that we are really working basing on the rules and regulations for the government, but that's why the government, they have assurance to make sure that Shade School is not only providing education, but the environment, the transport, the security and safety is just very good.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Dan. Are there other Shade-like ministries in Tanzania or in other countries? And if so, are you involved in starting or guiding them?
Claire, you wanna say something about that?
Sure. There are some other organizations that advocate for people with albinism for sure, in Tanzania, in other African nations as well, but no one that's doing exactly what we're doing. So they will, there are some that work in clinics that do a lot more the medical sides. They do skin cancer screenings and eye clinics, vision clinics, because people with albinism have low vision. There are some who will sponsor kids with albinism to go to quality schools. So there are other organizations who are working in this space, but not exactly like Shade, especially in our area of Shinyanga. We are the ones who are doing a lot of work in building our own school and creating this our own space for all children, but specifically for children with albinism as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Got a lot of great questions coming in. Here's one for the US side a little bit, Claire. How has your fundraising evolved over the years, and how would you like to further evolve it?
That's a great question. It has evolved, just thinking back, when I was thinking about the past 10 years, and I just started telling people my story 10 years ago, what God had called me to, and I had raised enough money to get on a plane and move to Tanzania. I mean, that's what the funding was like back then, and probably some of you on this call were there supporting all these 10 years. So over time, we have evolved a lot and grown a lot, and God has really provided. But one of our biggest needs right now is really just to bolster the US side of things. We have seen amazing growth in Tanzania, like you saw. We have over 30 staff members and hundreds of kids and buildings. And so we really need to also bolster the US side of things as well and grow that in order to support and really continue this exponential growth in Tanzania. So we need to expand our capacity over here. We need to reach out to new people, new networks, new churches, and that's really our goal and one of our focuses this year as well, to expand our fundraising efforts on the US side.
Awesome, thank you. Combining a couple of questions here. How many staff members are there at Shade in Tanzania? And can you talk a little bit about how the head teacher evaluates the teachers and how are the teachers sharpening their skills?
Well, right now, we're having 32 staff members. That includes the ministry people and the Shade School people. Basically, talking about the development of teachers and the way they are working, we have our standard as Shade private school. We have our standard, and one of the great things that we want teachers who really know what they're doing in the class. And so basically, because I'm there and we have kids with albinism, I'm also one of the personnel to make sure that these people are doing a great job as far as teaching is concerned. So the work of head teacher is to make sure that the academic goes well, to make sure the lesson plans are set in very good order and all those kind of stuff. And of course, leading up as we are starting, because we are at the we are at the foundation, so we need to have that a very good setting issues and setting these protocols of academic and trained teachers and all those kind of things, because we want to have a very strong foundation in the while we are going in the future. So I would say that we are working together with the head teacher to make sure that teachers are really they should do what they're supposed to do in very good order. And we have assessments. For example, we have one of the things that we always say that we just don't want to compete, but at least we want these kids to have at least from 81 as far as the average level is concerned. So teachers, it is the assignment of a teacher to make sure that not only kids with albinism, not only vulnerable kids, but all kids in general, to make sure that they have a very good understanding as far as reading, writing, counting, and all those kind of things is concerned. So I would say in short, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of my favorite things personally is going over to Tanzania. When I'm over there and bringing curriculum. So I was a teacher a while back now, and so our teachers are also equipped when I come over, do training, bring curriculum and resources from the US. And so, yeah, it's fun to invest in our teachers, and they're doing a really good job in the classroom for sure.
Fantastic. Is there any support from local sources, either funds or other resources or labor and local sources?
Claire, you wanna say something?
Local sources, that would be you. You're local. I don't think so. No, we don't really get support from Tanzania. It's coming from the US.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a couple of more, but we can be sure to get to those afterwards. We can follow up with people via email for those, so we can be sure to end in a timely manner.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Yeah, as Casey just said, any other questions, feel free to drop them in or email us. Shade folk want to answer all these questions, I can tell you. So I'd like to invite the Shade group to get on screen here so we can do a proper send off. Hey, I'd only heard about Shade not even a year ago. And you heard I grew up in Africa. I've been all over the continent. I've worked with a lot of organizations. I've never had a chance to donate to an organization that has such a focused, simple, absolutely vital and unique ministry. I absolutely have been captivated by it. And it was so cool to learn more about it tonight. I just got schooled. So there's a link in the chat to click on, and you can go to the website, join us in being part of this. And I just want to say thank you as we say goodbye here. None of this stuff happens without you. This is God's work working through you and the incredible people you see on this screen. Not me. I'm just hosting these folk that steward your resources towards the end to which you give them with efficiency, with love. It's really phenomenal. And I don't say that about every organization I know of working in Africa. So thanks, everybody. And we pray for you, pray for Shade. And special thanks to John, who stayed up half the night. John, I think you can go to bed now.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully you didn't drink too much coffee, you know. You'll have to wind down as the sun comes up. But anyway, and Joseph, thank you as well. It's great to see both of you. Yeah. Final word, Claire.
Yeah, just to echo what you said, we're so grateful for your participation tonight, for your partnership with Shade, for making this all possible. You're truly a part of the team. When we send out emails and we say things like that, like, oh, thank you for your partnership. They're just words, but that really means a lot to us when we say them, because you are as much a part of this as we are, that this wouldn't be possible, really, truly, without you. And so thank you for making it possible that all of these kids are being loved and cared for, and that the truth about albinism is being shared on June 13th, International Albinism Awareness Day, but throughout the year, throughout the years. And we're just so excited for what's to come. So we hope that you'll just continue to walk this journey with us in whatever way possible. So thank you so much.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.